lesson. I'm glad you're joining me again today. I'm happy to see you. Today's lesson is about rests. So rests are when we rest. We take a break, we don't play. Okay, so we're not having nap time, we're not having a rest period, but we're talking about rest in music. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in and get started. Today we're talking about rests. So that's a lot of S sound, rests, but let's go ahead. We're going to do a little activity again. So get your dry erase marker and your learning pack page, and we're going to make these two different measures. So start by putting a 1 and a 2 here and here. And we are going to be working with 4/4 timing for these two measures. So put your time signature here on the side. And if you remember, these two numbers mean the top number is the number of beats per measure. So I know I have 4 beats in this measure. Let's go ahead and divide our measure into 4 beats. So use your dotted line, cut it in half, and then cut those halves in half again. So I have 4. And we can label them 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go ahead and just go right down to the bottom and do the same thing. We will both be using 4/4 timing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what a rest does, and I'm going to write the word rest up here. A rest tells me where I'm not playing. So a note tells me when to play. A rest tells me when to not play. So I'm going to give you an example. Up here, I'm going to write a quarter note, and you can just do this right along with me. Go ahead and put a quarter note in your first beat. Say I want to play something, bum, and then the next 2 beats I don't want to be playing. I want to have a rest. I could go ahead then, and this is a half rest, and we'll talk about this more as we get into our rests today. But I can put another symbol, and this one equals 2. Okay, so it would go from here to here. But a rest is a symbol that tells me when I'm not playing. So I'd have my note, boop, rest, rest, and then I could play another note if I wanted, or put another rest. Okay, so in my left hand, I could do something totally different than my right hand. Let's do this. Let's go. We'll play a dotted half note. So if I played a dotted half note, how far would it go? 1, 2, 3, and then this rest is hard to make. It goes like this. I'm not very good at it. You'll learn in a minute. We'll draw a bunch of them. But this is called a quarter rest, and it gets 1 count. So I have different rests that equal different counts that I can fill my measures in with. So then let's look down here. I'm going to put another rest. This one is called a whole rest. And a whole rest matches a whole note, so it's going to get all 4 of these counts. So I'm not going to play at all in my right hand. And then, say I had a quarter note down here. You can draw this along with me. Let's put a quarter note in the first spot, a quarter note in the second spot. And then I don't want to be playing anything on the third spot, so I'm going to do this crazy little number. And then this is 1 count, so then I could put another quarter note here. So rests are just like they sound. You're taking a rest, you're not playing a note. Let's go ahead and turn to our books now, and we'll learn more about these. We're starting on page 83 of the Learn to Play book. And if you'll notice, And if you'll notice at the top, we have a light bulb. It says, notes symbolize what sound is made and for how long. Number of counts or beats. Rests represent the number of counts or beats a sound is not made. Rests means silence. Notes have rests that match their number of counts. So I have a table here that we're going to fill in, and here are my rests that represent these different amounts. Okay, so let's start at the top. I have a whole note, which gets 4 counts, and then go ahead and draw a whole note here. We'll just do this page together. And then here's my whole rest. And we're going to learn to draw that in just a second on our next page. Let's continue to fill in the chart. A half note gets how many counts? 2. So go ahead and fill in a 2. This is my half note, what it looks like, and this is my half rest, which also gets 2 counts. The third one, what is this note called that gets 1 count? That's our quarter note, so go ahead and put the name quarter, Q-U-A-R-T-E-R, in here. And if you'll notice, this lightning bolt looking thing, that is our quarter rest. That's what I tried to draw on the last one, and it didn't do so well. Okay, and then the last one, our dotted half note gets how many counts? 3. And if you remember how to draw it, it's a half note with a dot. So go ahead and do that right here. Okay, hopefully you kept up. If you need another minute or two to finish up, you can. But let's go ahead and now turn to page 84. And this is where notes get kind of fun. I like drawing these, or rests get kind of fun. Here on page 84, we are going to draw whole rests and draw half rests and draw quarter rests. So I have a couple little helpful things to kind of help us remember what they look like. So a whole, I want you to imagine a guy walking on a line. He's walking on one of these staves. Doot, 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 doot. And oh no, he fell in a hole. There's a hole in the ground. This is my whole rest. Okay, so this whole rest equals 4 counts. So a whole note and a whole rest have the same number of beats. He says, oh no, I fell in a hole. And this is a different type of hole. A hole in the ground is H-O-L-E, but a whole rest is W-H-O-L-E. Okay? Anyway, so that's a good way to remember him. It looks like he's fallen into a hole. The next one is a half rest, and that's a whole rest flipped upside down, and it kind of looks like a hat. So do you like my half? Do you like my hat? So if you can imagine a guy wearing a top hat, that is a half rest. Half and hat, they both start with ha, ha, okay? Anyways, they're a little bit similar, so just remember, he's wearing his hat, that's a half rest, which would be 2 counts. So over here, we would then draw these. So in just a second, you're gonna draw whole rests, okay? And then half rests. The only other thing you need to recognize is the whole rests go under line 4 or 9. That's where they're positioned. And the half rests are on top of lines 3 and 8. So they're on top of the middle line, and these guys are under the second line down. And the last one, this one is the hard one to draw. So there's lots of help down here. A quarter rest, trace and draw quarter rest, starts like this. You're gonna trace these. So go ahead and use your pencil. You can trace that first one. It starts in the middle of the top line. So you're gonna start in the middle. You're gonna draw a line to the middle of the next space. Then you're gonna hit the line, come back to the middle of the space again, and then circle around. So you get to just practice drawing this. These are the steps. Trace these first, and then trace these, and then you've got the dots that you can go from, and then you have 2 on your own. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video and complete this assignment, and then come back for one more thing. Our last page is Learn to Play, page 85, and our directions say, draw a line from each note and rest to the number of beats they represent in 4/4 timing. So here I have my notes, and here I have some rests. So all I'm doing is drawing lines from the note to how many counts it gets, or from the rest to how many counts it gets. So you have to remember what we just learned on the page before. And just remember, if it looks like a hole in the ground, it's a whole rest. If it looks like a hat, it's a half rest. Okay? And for a dotted half note, you have to add these together. You have to have both one of a quarter rest and one of a half rest together. Okay? All right, so go ahead and pause the video, complete this assignment, and then you're going to correct your pages with the answer keys provided. And great job today. Hopefully you liked learning about rests.